underrated summer fragrance video for you guys right now. First of all, I hope you're all doing very, very well. It's about 11:15 at night. I thought that I would come into my garage here, or my fragrance studio, and do a fragrance video for you guys. So I have 8 fragrances here that I think are absolutely brilliant for the summertime. Now, bearing in mind, here in the UK, we don't really get hot weather. It's more like sunny weather with partially the little bit of rain in between, you know. So our summers here in the UK aren't exactly known for the heat. If anything, it's known more for just rubbish weather in general. So the whole point of this video is for me to just show you guys fragrances, 8 of them from my collection, which I do personally think are perfect for summer in general. So if you live in a country which has a hotter climate, these fragrances will shine for you. But me being British, these are just some of the fragrances that I just love in general for the summertime. So it doesn't really matter if it's hot or not, I like to wear them in the summer. So here we go. Now the first fragrance, this isn't any particular order by the way. This is a clone, technically, and it's probably one of the best clones of a Tom Ford fragrance that I've ever owned. Truth be known, I've actually never owned a Tom Ford fragrance. I've owned various samples, but never a full bottle, simply just because, you know, the price is just a little bit high. And even though the fragrance that this fragrance is copying is a bit of a favourite for summer, this clone is excellent. And I mean really good. And I'm talking about Maison Alhambra's Porto Neroli. Now this, as you guys can see, is just a blatant rip-off of Tom Ford. And you know, that is true. There's nothing wrong with me saying that. Maison Alhambra are basically a sub-company, or a second company, which are owned by Lattafa in Dubai. And they do clones. It's basically Lattafa's clone brand. That's what I like to think of them as. This is excellent. Now, if you've ever smelled Neroli Portofino by Tom Ford, Porto Neroli is basically about 95% similar, both in smell and longevity. If anything, the longevity for this is just a little bit better. But what you get out of this fragrance is really just your quintessential summery type of smell. Although this doesn't have the coconut, it doesn't really have any fruits going on. What this is all about is citrus, neroli flower, which of course is known as smelling quite zesty, quite citrusy anyway, but with a soapy sort of undertone. This is really that type of smell. Although what we get here, the added difference, is the note of sea salt. So it actually makes the smell a little bit more vibrant with all of the notes that are selected. And most of the notes that are in Porto Neroli are pretty much in Neroli Portofino. The only difference is that sea salt. So if you are into Neroli smells, so for example, 4711 is a fragrance that I know most people have smelled more than Neroli Portofino. And that is a good example. So if you haven't smelled Neroli Portofino, but you've smelled 4711 by Maurer and Wirtz, you'll get more of an idea of how it smells. Now, this Neroli Portofino is possibly one of the strongest Neroli fragrances that I've ever smelled. This is a brilliant copy of that, and I've been wearing this so much, especially since the weather's been very nice here in the UK, and it's just it's shining for me in my collection. I get easily 6 or 7 hours out of this, no joke. It's not exactly a bombastic neroli scent throughout its whole development, but it does calm down to a very nice woody, musky scent after a while. It's just excellent. And for the summer, you cannot go wrong. I think in high heat, this would do much better. I really do. Yeah, excellent stuff. So that is my number one choice. If I had a bottle of Neroli Portofino, I would be totally choosing Neroli Portofino. It's just that this cost me literally £28 on eBay. Very, very inexpensive, and it's just an excellent clone of Tom Ford's Neroli Portofino. So I'm adding it into this list because it's really just one of the best clones out there. That's the first one on the list, guys. Porto Neroli by Maison Alhambra. Coming in at number 2, we have a Zara Chrome Legend. What this is basically I don't want to say it's an apple-based scent, even though it is. It has a lot more going on. So it has a lot of woods. It has a very nice apple note up top with a little bit of it's kind of a zestiness underneath. But the overall theme that I get with this is an almost aquatic, yet ambery, musky type of scent. It's almost leaning to more of an aromatic, aquatic, I would say. I really think the apple up front is quite nice for what it is. And just another thing I love about this is one hell of a performer. I get easily 8 hours out of this with just one of the most dry down, heavy aquatic smells. It's really quite something. I mean, I got this from TK Maxx. I think I spent about £15 on this, and this is 125ml. Yes, it comes with this very cheap plastic. It is metal, but it's very thin. If I was to bend it, it would mold into a shape. The atomizer just looks so cheap. But the smell is just very, very good. Yes, it's synthetic, incredibly synthetic, but it's fresh. It's enjoyable to wear. It's incredibly casual. And every time I wear this, I actually get a bit of a feel-good feeling inside when I wear it. It's just a great scent. I really, really like it. So, number 2 is a Zara Chrome Legend. Possibly a little bit better than the original Zara Chrome, but again, it's very different to the original Chrome. I mean, the original Chrome DNA is there, but this has a more amped up apple and amber sort of combination. It's very, very nice stuff. Big performer as well for the summer. I would highly recommend it. I think in high heat, this would be amazing. Even though the juice is blue, it's more than just your quintessential blue type of casual fragrance. It's got a lot more going on. So yeah, guys, that's number 2, Zara Chrome Legend. Coming in at number 3 is definitely one of the most surprising fragrances. I remember when I got this for the first time, it was a sample. A very small sample, which I was immediately intrigued by because it had this lovely, lovely citrus opening. And the fragrance that I'm talking about is Tous Sport Man. Or just Tous Sport, simply. This is just excellent stuff. It really is. It gives me this, again, it's another feel-good, bright, citrusy type of fragrance, which goes a long way. It really does go a long way. I feel like the performance on this says a lot more than the brand itself. I mean, Tous themselves as a brand, they're not really known for creating amazing fragrances, but what I love about Tous Man Sport is the way the Amalfi lemon and the aldehydes opens in this almost gives it this airy, sweet, sugary lemon type of smell. It almost smells like a lemon sherbet without the fizziness. It's sweet, candy-like, with just insane longevity. Simple as that. It has a red apple note, which is also very nice, and it also is quite heavy on the musk and the cashmere. So, again, just very warm. Even though it's an aquatic scent, it dries down very warm, very soft, blanket-like, and it's just lovely, lovely stuff. Love everything about it. The atomizer has a blue center right here, which is just a nice touch, but again, the smell is just I love it. So that's number 3, Tous Man Sport. I love this stuff. Would highly recommend more people review this. Coming in number 4, we have probably the most interesting scent out of all of the ones that I've picked. And the one I'm talking about right now is Wild Ocean by Courrèges. Now, Courrèges are a fashion brand, a French fashion brand, and their fragrances are very unique, to say the least. And this one, even though not a lot of people talk about it, I actually heard about this from Scentland. Chris from Scentland, so huge thank you, man, for shining some light on this. This is one of those fragrances that isn't overly complex. In fact, it's very simplistic. We get 3 notes. I believe those notes are sea salt, sand, and ambroxan. So what you're getting is a very mineralistic, sort of watery aquatic scent, which really does remind you, personally, this one, out of all of the ones I've mentioned here, this is probably the most aquatic out of all of them, because this has no fruit, it has no citruses, it's all just mineral, salty, watery, a little bit ambery, to be honest with you, in the way it dries down. It's just really, really good stuff, this. It has a lovely spray, and the smell is just, well, lovely. Not heavy, but looking from the note breakdown, there isn't really any notes in here which would make it heavy. So it's very soft and just very likable. Courrèges Wild Ocean. The next one comes from the Italian brand of Biblos. Now, Biblos, I own 3 fragrances from Biblos. I own the original Eau de Parfum for women, which came out in 1990. I own Biblos Man from 2006, which is a sort of violet, heavy, sort of petrol kind of smell. It actually reminds me a little bit of Fahrenheit, but it's good stuff nevertheless. This one, however, this one right here was a blind buy. And, usually with blind buys, you tend to look up the notes beforehand, just to get a bit of a feeling of what the fragrance is. And with this one, I'll be honest, when I first got it, when I first looked at the notes, I should say, I didn't know what to expect, because the notes in this are very, very nice. Although it isn't exactly aquatic, it's, again, more leaning into that aromatic, aquatic type of scent. And the fragrance that I'm talking about is Biblos Uomo. Now, this came out in 2001, so it's been out for a really long time. Very interesting bottle as well. I mean, it's big, it's bulky, weird cap, it's a cube, and then we get this. This is the bottle with the juice in. So what you get with Biblos Uomo is a scent which is just, I suppose, a bit of a time capsule, in my opinion. It's fragrances from the early 2000s had this very peculiar smell, especially when they were going for more fresh takes on fragrances. This is just incredibly likable in the same way that Calvin Klein's Crave is. It's not exactly the same as Crave, but this definitely gives me the same sort of summery vibe. So what I get with this is I get a very ozonic, aquatic, aromatic type of scent. But it's done in a way that just smells very likable. Because the notes in it, there's a lot of notes in here which you wouldn't really associate with summer. Like, there's watermelon cardamom in here. Nutmeg. Oak moss, believe it or not. But the notes that really stand out, which give me the feeling of summer, is the watery notes. Whatever that's supposed to smell like. But it's fresh. Gives me this casual vibe. Bergamot. Watermelon is also in here. So what I really get is a sort of mid-spicy watermelon type of scent, I suppose. I think the watery notes in this gives it the freshness and gives it a slight saltiness, but the watermelon in this is definitely different. And if there's any fans of watermelon out there, I would highly recommend you check out Biblos Uomo. I don't think it's going to be for everyone, but me personally, when I smelled this for the first time, I did like it, and I still do, hence why it's in this list. So the next one is Biblos Uomo from 2001. Now, guys, I've got 3 more fragrances here, and these aren't really in any particular order. So we'll talk about the next one here. The next one is Calvin Klein Obsession Summer. A limited edition, not very well known, but very nice fragrance. Now, what I get from this is a perfect summer scent. It's fresh, it's lively, it's enjoyable to smell, but again, it doesn't have any notes in it which you'd really find in a summer scent. It doesn't have the citruses, it doesn't have sea salt, it doesn't have sand or any mineral kind of smells. What Calvin Klein's Obsession Summer is, it's basically just a 3-note fragrance. It doesn't have top, middle, or base. So it's very much a stand-alone type of scent, in my opinion. I think the fact of calling it Obsession was really just a marketing gimmick, in all fairness, just to create a different type of fragrance for Calvin Klein, and using the name Obsession would sort of push sales, but it really didn't work. It really did not work, because and to be honest, I don't know why it didn't work, because this is very nice, especially the longer that I've had this bottle for. It really seems to be turning more like into a stronger scent compared to when I first got this. The notes that you get in this are Artemisia, cedarwood, and sage. That's it. That's pretty much it. So what you get is, I personally get a little bit more than what the 3 notes suggest, but I do get a herbal, woody scent. Nevertheless, I do definitely get that. But I definitely do get a sort of freshness from somewhere, and I don't know where it's coming from. It's a very cool freshness. There's no mint or anything to give me this feeling, but there's definitely a cool vibe within the smell of Obsession Summer. If you like summer fragrances and you really like Obsession, I would recommend it. If you like Obsession, I wouldn't bother getting this, because Obsession is, of course, an ambery, spicy scent. I love it very much. It's one of my most memorable favorite fragrances. This is nothing like the original. This is just a perfect summer fragrance, which is very hard to find now, but if you can get a bottle of this, I would highly recommend you checking this one out, because it is good. It's really good. I get sort of CH Men vibes with it a little bit, especially the way it dries down. It's good stuff. About 4 to 5 hours longevity, but again, you're not really going to expect a massive performer with any type of aquatic fragrance. So yeah, that is Obsession Summer. 2 more, guys. This one is a one that I've always wanted, and I recently realized, well, not long ago, before getting it obviously, that the prices for this had really come down. I mean, when this first came out, it was quite high because of the brand that it was, even though this brand now is classed as a sort of inexpensive brand. You know, they're not known for luxury, you know. It's one of those sort of designer fragrances which just, you know, takes you by surprise. That's really what it is. And the fragrance I'm talking about is Kenneth Cole Blue. Now, Kenneth Cole Blue is... this is good stuff. Now, if you took Versace Manau Fresh and added a little bit of Mercedes-Benz cologne to it, with a tiny touch of Dior Homme cologne, you get Kenneth Cole Blue. For as little as £13 a bottle, 100ml, you're going to get a pretty long-lasting aquatic scent for what it is. There's citruses, so I actually get full-blown citrus vibes with this. I get lime, I get grapefruit, I even get orange vibes with this. It's excellent. And then underneath that, it gets more woody, it gets a little bit more fluffy with a musk. Perfect. Just another perfect aquatic scent that, or I should say citrus aquatic scent that just nobody's talking about. It's incredible. It really is. And I can say it's an aquatic scent because it really has a very strong C notes accord, which does give me this freshness, this sort of feeling of just being energetic. I love it. Really, really like this stuff. Again, for the price, it's just an absolute no-brainer. It really is. Check it out when you can, guys. Kenneth Cold Blue. A very, very understated fragrance for the summer. My last pick is a scent that I've had in my collection for years, and this is only, I believe, it's just a 30ml bottle, and it's not even half full. Because this one has it's one of those scents that has a very good longevity, has a good performance for what it is. And it's probably because of the brand it comes from, let's be honest. The House of Bulgari do know how to make good fragrances. And the fragrance I'm talking about is the classic. I'm not talking about any of its flankers. I'm on about the original here. The original Aqua Poron. Not even half full, just a 30ml bottle. The bigger bottles have that inbuilt sprayer. Wow. Okay, so this is this is probably the one that I was most excited to show, because it's just a scent that I just love, and every time I talk about it, I get excited. What this is a deep, dark, aquatic scent. Really what it is. Because it has a note of seaweed, and it really gives it this green, sort of marine feel. But at the same time, it also has the right amount of warmth underneath, and it's just the way it works, the way that you smell, the way you feel when you wear this fragrance is, I feel like I'm literally in like the south of Italy driving. That's how I feel when I smell this. It's just truly, truly, truly lovely stuff. Probably the most expensive fragrance on this list. As you guys can see, I haven't talked about any niche. I haven't really talked about any high-end designers because I don't need to. These fragrances have always worked for me in my collection. They've always worked in my rotation, and I love them. I really do. So yeah, guys, that has been my video for my top 8, I suppose. I'm going to call this my top 8 underrated summer choices, because that's what they are. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm not actually wearing anything tonight, so I'm gonna... Let's find a fragrance to wear. Let's go for a little bit of Courage Wild Ocean. I haven't worn this one in a while. Damn, that's good. Really nice. But yeah, I would recommend checking out each and every one of them, guys, because they are very good. So yeah, guys, that has been my video for my top 8 underrated summer fragrances. Hope you've enjoyed it. Please keep smelling good. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions about summer fragrances or any fragrances in general, hit me in the comments, guys, and I'll get back to you. Okay, guys, take care of yourselves, and good night. Enjoy the rest of your summer.